Center for the Ethiopian Educational Information and Communication Technology presents Educational Satellite Television Programs.
Hello, teacher. Hello, students. Welcome to today's lesson on antiretroviral drugs. We began our studies on this topic in our last lesson. We learned that antiretroviral drugs are types of medications that are taken in order to treat infections by retroviruses, primarily HIV. Last time, we discussed 5 different types of antiretroviral drugs. Today, we will continue to study antiretroviral drugs. We will learn how to take them properly, and we will discuss the consequences if they are misused. Students, let us begin the lesson with an activity. Last time, we learned about the application of the highly active antiretroviral treatment. Students, explain what this treatment is and why it is effective. Write your answers on a sheet of paper or in your notebook.
Students, let's get ready. Begin. Time's up. Let's get back to our lesson.
Welcome back. I am sure you had no trouble with this activity. Highly active antiretroviral treatment, or HAART, is a form of therapy in which multiple antiretroviral drugs are prescribed to someone. Since different antiretroviral drugs target different stages in the HIV life cycle, HAART is the most effective method of treatment that prevents HIV from quickly spreading throughout the body. HAART is recommended to all patients with AIDS. Selecting and following a medical regime can be complex, and the side effects of HAART can be quite severe. Due to the side effects, it can be difficult for some people to follow their therapy plan properly. However, it is very important for all patients to comply with treatment. Also, they need to understand their obligation to their prescribed medications. The life cycle of HIV can be short. It may only take a day and a half for HIV to enter the cell, replicate, assemble, and release additional viruses. HIV lacks proofreading enzymes, which correct errors made when it converts RNA into DNA through reverse transcriptase. The HIV virus can mutate very quickly due to its short life cycle and high error rate. This results in HIV's high genetic inconsistency. Most of the mutants are unable to reproduce or are inferior to the parent virus. However, strains of the virus may be selected for. This means that they are superior to their parents and may be able to slip past defenses in the body, such as the immune system or antiretroviral drugs. Therefore, if there are more active strains of the virus in the body, it is more likely a strain that is resistant to antiretroviral drugs will be present. When antiretroviral drugs are used improperly, the superior strains of the HIV virus quickly dominate the cell. If the drugs are consistently misused, mutated HIV strains form a resistance to the drugs. HAART works by defending against the increased resistance of HIV strains. It does this by suppressing HIV replication as much as possible. HAART creates multiple obstacles for HIV replication. It does this by keeping the number of virus offspring low, and it reduces the possibility of a superior mutation. If a strain has mutated and is resistant to one of the drugs, the other drugs work in order to suppress the reproduction of the mutated strain during the new stage of its life cycle. Students, let us pause for a moment and do an activity to review what we just discussed. Please determine if the following statements are true or false.
Students, let's get ready. Begin. Time's up. Let's get back to our lesson.
Welcome back, students. How did you do? Let us review the answers together. The statement that HIV is a virus that attacks the immune system is true. The statement that the life cycle of HIV is short and has a high rate of error is true. The statement that all antiviral drugs target the same stage in the HIV life cycle is false. Different drugs are used for different stages in the HIV life cycle. The statement that if antiviral drugs are used improperly, superior strains of HIV could become dominant in the cell is true. The last statement, that HAART defends against the resistance of HIV strains by decreasing their size, is false. HAART defends against HIV resistance by suppressing the replication of the strands as much as possible. Were you able to get each one correct? If so, well done. So far, we learned that HIV replicates at a quick rate and that some copies of the virus mutate to become superior and resistant to drugs. The HAART treatment combines 3 or more antiretroviral drugs from different classes in order to keep the levels of HIV down. Combinations generally comprise of 2 nucleoside reverse transcriptase and 1 non-nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors, or protease inhibitor. Doctors and scientists have found that HAART helps to control HIV. In many cases, the number of viral strands can become so low that HIV may not be detected in the blood. This is called undetectable viral load. The term undetectable means that HIV is still present in the blood, but at such a low level that it cannot be detected using standard viral load tests. If patients do not adhere to HAART, resistance is likely to develop. Those who maintain proper therapy can stay on one regimen without developing resistance. This increases life expectancy. This brings us to the end of our lesson. Today, we reviewed the highly active antiretroviral therapy. We discussed the ways in which HAART is effective, and we talked about the importance of taking antiretroviral medication properly. Until next